I saved my friend's baby's life, but now I'm starting to regret it. When Tessa, my best friend, showed up at my door on Sunday morning, she looked terrible. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her hair was a mess, and her hands were shaking. But she still smiled at me and said, "You like kids, right? Help me get rid of one." At first, I thought she was joking. I even laughed a little, but when I saw the tears start falling down her face, I realized she was serious. My heart started racing. Tessa had been my best friend since college. She was wild, fun, and always full of energy. But after her breakup a few months ago, she started acting strange. She stopped going out with our group and rarely answered her phone. I thought she was just heartbroken. I had no idea she was pregnant. That day, she told me everything. The father was her boss, a married man. When she told him about the baby, he stopped talking to her and moved her to a different department. She said she couldn't keep the baby and didn't want to ruin his life. I begged her to go to the hospital or get help, but she said it was too late. 2 nights later, she called me in the middle of the night. "It's happening," she said, crying. "Please come." When I got to her apartment, the lights were off and she was on the floor surrounded by towels. The baby was already born, tiny and barely breathing. I panicked and called 911. She screamed at me to stop, but I couldn't let the baby die. The ambulance arrived quickly. They took both Tessa and the baby. I thought it was all over, just a nightmare that would haunt me forever. But a month later, a woman from Child Services called me. She said that Tessa had listed me as an emergency contact. They needed me to come in and sign some papers about the baby. I told her there had to be a mistake, but she said, "Tessa said you'd understand." When I went there, they gave me a small box. Inside was a note in Tessa's handwriting. It said, "He wasn't my boss. He was yours. You remember those late nights he stayed to train you? Now you know why he stopped answering my calls." My knees went weak. The man she was talking about, Mr. Carlisle, was my old boss. He had been kind to me when I started working there, even stayed late to help me learn things. He retired suddenly a few months ago and left town. I never knew they were together. Now I understood everything. Tessa didn't go to prison. The doctor said she wasn't mentally stable and sent her to a treatment center. But a few months later, she escaped. Nobody has seen her since. The baby survived and was placed in foster care. A few months after that, I got an envelope in the mail. No name, no return address, just a picture inside. It was the baby, now older and smiling. On the back of the photo were 5 words in Tessa's handwriting. "You said you like kids, right? Now I can't sleep at night."